well, what am I now if I'm not Dr. Hawkins, right? I'm Jeremiah that happens to be an endodontist. I'm not an endodontist that happens to be named Jeremiah. My biggest joy is working with my team. The more I grow them, the more successful I am. And it's been really pretty fun and rewarding.
Welcome to the Byron Martin Show. In today's episode, we have Dr. Jeremiah Hawkins from Advanced Endodontic Care. We talk about building identity beyond a career, the surprising leadership lessons learned from watercolor painting, and the changing landscape of trust and ethics in healthcare. And lastly, what AI means for the future of dentistry. Real people, real stories. Let's get into it. Who is Dr. Hawkins outside of the office? Who is Jeremiah Hawkins?
So that's a good question. So when I went into dentistry and became an endodontist, it can be kind of all consuming. And so it's kind of funny. I'm giving a long answer to this, but we can cut out.
Just roll with it. Yeah.
So I watch a lot of old doctors who don't leave when they can leave the industry. And it's I've always asked myself, like, why? Like, there's a lot more to life. Why are you enduring the suffering more longer than you need to? Because it's a hard job. To be a business owner is a hard job. To be the practitioner is a hard job. And I often had thought that what happened to them is they had given so much of their life to the profession that it became their ego, became their identity. And then to let go of that, they probably feel like, what am I now if I'm not Dr. Hawkins, right? Or I'm not Dr. So-and-so, I'm Dr. Dentist. And so I kind of promised myself, and I used to kind of say this more, I should say it more often now as I'm approaching retirement, right? But say I'm Jeremiah that happens to be an endodontist. I'm not an endodontist that happens to be named Jeremiah. So that I can kind of separate and say, no, I'm my same individual I have been. I'm just doing this because it's helping me accomplish this, or it's interesting to me now, but it's not who I am. So that sounds like a very low level of commitment to my career, but but it's not really like that. It's just I want to be something outside. So so I make sure, like, I'm a hobby enthusiast of all types of stuff. My wife gives me a hard time because there's always something I'm wanting to do. Um, so outside of work, I don't have any difficulty filling my time. I mean, do you want to hear about those things? Or
Well, just give us some highlights. What do you like? What do you like doing?
well, it depends on the phase of my life, right? Right now, I've got kids, so I'm trying to do as much as I can with the teenagers because I feel like that window's going to close, and I'm glad. Where's your tissue box? I don't want to think about my oldest leaving. It's going to be tough. So we try and do a lot of stuff with them. Meaning I participate in all their sports. Like my youngest was doing club volleyball. If there's ever a sport that's going to consume more of you, maybe dance. I don't know. Those guys look like they're really suffering, but club volleyball is tough because the weekend's away all the time. So we do those things, or I go to their tennis matches, or I play tennis with them, or I take my son, bass fishing, or we're doing skiing, or just I try and do centric things to the family. When I'm alone, like today is a Thursday, hang out with good friends like Byron Martin, or I actually like to fly. So aviation's been an interest of mine. We've talked about in the past that maybe one day we'll get you up there and get you licensed because it becomes pretty addictive.
I don't know if I win that plane that I bought those tickets for.
I know. Right?
It was just,
There's only 25,000 entries. You'll be fine.
It was just a random thing on the. I mean, I felt oh hey, they're raffle an airplane.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I got it, and I thought of like, you know what, I'm gonna buy a few tickets
Yeah.
and see if I can get
Did you
me an
see the
airplane.
secondary prizes on that?
I did. I looked at
Pretty
some.
wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I looked at some of them too. So
What happened? So I mean, it made sense. They're going to sell 25,000 tickets at $50 a piece. Ends up being like 1.2 million. They're going to make some money on it.
I bought 3 tickets. What's my odds?
Yeah, not good. I bought one. You're 3 times better than me. So yeah, aviation takes up time. I actually like carpentry shop.
yeah,
at home.
yeah, okay.
Got furniture pieces I've done in my house. I like those things. I feel like I will drift into them and then drift away from them depending on like time and
Yeah.
stuff. I took up painting.
Oh no,
Yeah, so
No
I feel like
kidding.
everybody's got a COVID skill, right? Or they should, somebody's
yeah.
deciding to learn French, I'm sure, or somebody decided to do something. So my youngest daughter, Maddie, came to me and said, "Hey, Dad, let's paint." My grandmother was a good painter, and so I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." Well, she always worked in oil, and I thought, I don't know, it seems messy, right? And do I want to engage in something messy with my kids? Um, and so I said, "Let's do watercolor. It's cheap to start, and it's kind of fun." So we started watercoloring together during COVID, and she stuck with me for like a couple months, and then I really liked it, and so I've run with it. I need lessons and such, but I really enjoy it. So like I probably watercolor once a week,
No
Sundays usually.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
That
I do
is
some fun stuff.
well, that's a little insight
Yeah,
that who knew?
yeah.
I mean, that's great.
It started with Maddie and I would each watercolor something like a little card.
Uh-huh.
Somebody in church would give a discourse that morning, some kind of a talk, and to say thank you, you did a good job. Because I've had, somebody who did something really cool once. I'm just going to digress for a minute. You know Rusty Walker?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, the pedodontist.
Mhm.
So I gave a Sunday talk and sacrament meeting, and um, I can't remember if he mailed it to me or dropped it off. It wasn't in person. He either dropped it off or it came in the mail. But he did like a handwritten note where he's like, "Hey, that topic was cool. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for uplifting my Sunday." Send it to me. That's just cool, right? That's
awesome.
just such a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
So taking that inspiration, Maddie and I started watercoloring for whoever talked, and then we'd say something like, "Hey, your talk was really good," or we'd watercolor according to
Yeah.
that topic, And so we had a purpose in the beginning, and then it just kind of spurred on like a kind of a passion for it now. Most of my late night evening scrolling is watching people watercolor. Yeah, the one where you're like
See, there you
almost
go.
in bed and you
We
should
were
be talking to your wife,
we
but instead you're on YouTube.
we were talking about that earlier, right? What
Yeah.
are you spending your time on social media? Okay, it's watercolor.
It's watercolor for me. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not all rope swings, and people falling down.
That's
Although
great.
that's a good part of it.
But what I love about that too is just it's builds you, fills you,
Yeah,
but also at the same time for those that are receiving
yeah,
kind of that, hey, thank you, or that
yeah.
card or whatever. I mean, that's that's huge. That's
I should go
nice.
back to giving the cards. I haven't done them for a while. I did Christmas cards
Okay,
this year.
I'm talking this week. I expected no, just
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah. Sounds good. If you'll give a talk, I'll do it.
No.
The other fun thing with watercolor, which might be good for your personality, typically people in our position who whether they come to it naturally or they're forced into it, if you're running a business, you become obsessive, you become controlling, you sweat the small stuff constantly. Like that's the only way to stay alive. If you didn't do those things, the business would crash or it would just be unsuccessful. So you train yourself into being this hyper aware, controlling individual, which isn't always good. Now you try a watercolor and act that way. They are wholly incompatible,
So-
right? So for instance, right? So this last Sunday, my parents came up to visit, and my dad, like every good father and parent, they're always going to say like, "You're the best," right? My grandma used to always tell us, "You're the blackest crow in the forest," right? They treat us that way, where they look at a painting I did, and my dad's like, "Oh, frame that one. Please frame it for me. Give it." So he's got, I don't know, a bunch of paintings in his house that probably nobody likes but him. So he said, "Can you do me like a steer? Can you paint me a steer or a cow?" Okay, let's do it. So stuff that's hard is stuff I'm trying to do on purpose. If I sit down to just do something, it usually turns out kind of fun and good. If I sit down and say, I want Byron to get, a picture of him skiing that I stole offline, dude, it's never going to go well because I'm wanting it too badly. Like I want to control it. And then every little thing I want to overwork and overtouch, and that's wrong. So I'm going to try and fix it and then make it worse. And so watercolor's been a little bit therapeutic in making me let go, where I'll let something begin to happen and I'll say, no, that's fate says it goes that way. And now that it's gone that way, how do I react? Well, I'm going to put this one over here. And if they merge and make some weird color, they're just going to merge and make a weird color. And it's, I think, maybe this is why it's been addictive to me because I'm not really that good, right? But I feel like maybe when I'm done, I feel like I've had like a little relaxed session where I've been like, hey, you know what? It's okay. My collar's wrinkled. It's okay. It's
Well, you
whatever comes up with me.
you articulated that very well as far as being a business owner, and
Yeah.
I use the term hyper focus a lot because I find myself hyper focusing
Yeah.
on some of the things that, in the end, that I just need to step back, right? And because part of it is control, part of it is just, man, things have just got to go right?
Mhm.
Can't screw things up, or we gotta whatever we're doing, right? Or because I know the fallout or the consequences,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm trying to
Or
just
your belief
I'm trying to
consequences, right?
right,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm trying to wrangle it in or herd the cats, whatever you want to,
yeah,
however you want to
yeah,
position it, and so it is. It's tough, and for me, a lot of times my escape is just I got to get out of Dodge. I got to get
yeah,
out
uh-huh,
of
yeah.
town, and
That's why
and
hobbies are good.
so you want to know what started?
Yeah. Yeah, your COVID item. Give me your
Well,
COVID
it's not
skill.
COVID, but it's
Or just
still post COVID, but it's close to. Uh, I started taking piano lessons.
that's awesome. Now Nancy plays, right?
No,
Oh, just
no,
you.
the kids.
Okay.
I will never be as good at the kid as the kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Even Eli, he's like way better. I'm like, I don't know.
So when did you start?
About a year ago.
All right. Who are you
Yeah.
taking lessons from?
Olin is I can't even remember his last name.
Okay.
It's in
Olin?
it's in Richland.
Yeah.
He's a great teacher, great pianist, and he's super patient because there's some weeks, honestly, like I'm like I just my practice was just didn't
Yeah.
have it,
Yeah.
didn't have the time, or I didn't do as much as I would have
Yeah.
liked, and so which is nice. So I can go a little bit more at what I can and am
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
do.
That's awesome.
So
So do you
we'll
find
have to
yourself
edit that one out.
so do you find yourself no, keep that in. Do you
'Cause
find yourself
I haven't really told anybody.
well, now we're gonna want a demonstration. Do you find yourself listening to more piano music?
I've always listened to a lot of
Yeah.
kind of type instrumental music, or at least I'm that's mostly what I listen to now,
Yeah.
and because I find that helps.
Yeah.
I find it helps with the focus,
Yeah.
the relaxation,
Yeah.
and because otherwise I'm in the mode of
Yeah.
what do I got to focus on today? What do I got to do? And
People have gotta have an outlet. So I actually like to play piano too. I'm like early intermediate. So, like hymns,
Mhm.
you'll definitely know what it is, but you're like, "Ooh, there was a few bumps in there." That's kinda where I'm at. But, I so I used to play Xbox a lot, right? I loved it. I got started in dental school, right? I never played any video games till dental school, and then all my roommates were playing, so I got addicted
Well,
to
yeah,
that. It was
why a
awesome.
great time to start.
What a good time. Yeah, yeah. Right
Dental
before
school.
finals, we'd be up till like 4 in the
That's
morning.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
All the
playing
studying you're supposed to be
playing
doing.
Halo. So, but anyways, but I used to tell my wife because she'd say, "Why? Like, why do you want to play?" Right? A lot of wives don't understand this, and I said, "It's less about like what I'm playing and more about it requires so much independent focus that the rest of the world's blocked out." I think it's analogous to like your Bears fan. In the '80s, you had some guy who's like, "Hey, every Monday night I got to watch football. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I just give me a treat in football," and then they zone out because they get a vacation from the rest of everything. Video games, I think, does that actually for men. It is you get a chance to just hyper focus. It's kind of fun, but there's no time or ability for anything to wedge itself back in. So it's almost like you're going to a little mental vacation
Yeah,
space to let things kind of recalibrate.
100%.
Piano's the same though. So like I feel that way with piano too. So if I sit down and play, it requires enough focus to try and get both these hands to do whatever's on that sheet music or to be creative on their own that there's not really room for anything. In fact, like you, I'm sure kids will come up and like talk to me while I'm doing it. And I'm kind of know they're there, but to their great irritation, I can't stop until that line or stanza's done. And then I can break away and talk to them. But I think that's why it feels good, especially for us, right? Where we can just say, "Hey, look, there's no problem. There's nothing else away from this piano. It's just you and me right now."
It's really just for me, it's unplugging everything else, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Really just mentally kind of what,
Hmm.
and just not having to worry about any.
Yeah.
I'm just setting it aside, I guess, is probably the more appropriate thing.
I think it's healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's super healthy.
100%. Yeah.
So let's go back to our analogy, right? With like not controlling through painting and then not controlling in the business world. I mentioned earlier that sometimes my best painting is the one where I'm like just sitting down and I don't care, right? Where I'm following some basic idea. It's not that I don't have vision, but I let some things happen. Business can be the same. Like if we over control, yeah,
Take a breath here.
breathe, yeah. If we over control every situation and we don't give, creativity to Earl, right? Or somebody else, that's trying to insert themselves into the vision as well, like we can miss a lot of good ideas. That's one advantage we have at Advanced Endodontic Care is I have Steve Hansen and Rolf Forch as my partners. There's so many evenings where we've sat down together and I've felt confident in a direction and it's probably what I would have chosen. And then somebody comes in from the side and it's like, well, this maybe is something you should consider. And then we alter course slightly or I do that to them or whatever. And so, I mean, you're the head honcho. You're like the last guy standing here, right? Like the CEO.
Yeah, no partners. No
Yeah,
partners, yeah.
amazing president. It's tough though. It's lonely at the top. And so sometimes if you don't get help, maybe don't let your employees hear this. They'll be interjecting all types of things.
I know.
Remember when
Watch
Dr.
out,
Hawkins
watch
told you to
out.
just slow your
To
roll and
listen.
listen? Stop the micromanaging. But there's some lessons in that. Like
Yeah.
things unfold. Sometimes they're better.
No, it's so true, and it's just easy to get caught up in whatever's going on, and to look past the blinders
Yeah.
can be really challenging.
So how do you take vacation if you're the only guy? How do you unplug entirely for like a week? Does this place run on its own?
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are fires that I got to deal with when I get back.
Yeah.
And that's
Hence
just part of the
Starlink for traveling work. So you're never
Starlink.
really alone.
Yeah, well, see, that is one of the problems. Is now even in Alaska, right? When I was there last year for a handful of weeks, I was never completely disconnected.
See, yeah, that's not good.
I know. I mean, there was times like there was days or so when we were out on a hike
Yeah.
or big chunks where we were, but it wasn't like days at a time, right? I can't tell you last time back in the years ago where go camping for a week or something. You're just
Yourself. Oh.
that's it. Now there's nothing else.
That was also healthy.
It was, and that's
Yeah.
I would like to get back to that more of that.
I don't know if it'll ever come back, but yeah, you think about when you're a kid, you and your family went to a cabin somewhere or you could return, your house could have been burned down. Nobody would have let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was nice because you truly let go. People just had to deal with it.
Well, I think there's a lot of return to analog too. A lot of people
Are they?
the analog experience in person versus digital, or
Like examples. Who's doing that?
people are craving a lot more in-person interaction,
Yeah.
like events or activities, social activities, things like that, than than just doing everything online. It's interesting because I think we're going to see a real shift, not a shift, but you're going to see one group over here that's just going to be against continued technology development.
Yeah.
Not just are real hesitant, right? And then the other group that's going to be just embracing it more. And I, not that that's any different than how it has been, but I think as things are advancing a lot faster, those groups are going to become more and more defined, and people are going to really maybe invest a lot more in just I'm going to do analog. I'm not going to be plugged in. I'm not going to be participating.
How do they stay that way?
Oh, I don't
know.
know. I don't know. I mean, even my son the other day was saying, you know what? I just want to get a flip phone. I'm like,
Pretty cool.
I call it. Yeah, you bet. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Let's go flip phone.
The problem is how do you function though?
I don't
It's
know.
like
That's
we kept our kids, so our kids weren't allowed to have a cell phone. My youngest now is she's 14. But anyway, she gets a phone at 14.
Yeah.
No, she gets a phone as a freshman. That's what our rule was. So it would have been 14. It was by the school year. And we just gave in. She's not a freshman yet. She's a graduating 8th grader. But we can't stay connected to all the stuff that they've got to do. Church, volleyball, school, it doesn't matter. You really can't be a part of society and not get those comms. And so I don't know how the flip phone thing's
I want to dig into a couple of things because I've got some questions.
Oh yeah, sure.
One of the things that you in conversation or your notes that really kind of stood out to me is
Okay.
looking at the future of dentistry or future of your industry, right?
Yeah.
And some of the changes, the challenges, and then the ethics around how just in general and that the way you phrased it, the way you termed it, really intriguing to me. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit more on that?
So when you were a kid, and maybe this is just my innocent, naive Idaho upbringing, right? Because I grew up in a small town, small school. Everybody knows everybody. Back when you were told by your mom, yeah, you can be an astronaut. That's what I'm talking about. I feel like there were certain industries and professions that by and large people looked up to as being kind of standards in the community for accomplishment and moral guidance. As silly as this sounds, right? I was born in 1980 to give you guys perspective. Uh, like a congressman, we thought they were like on our side, and they're like, "Oh, if you were going to be one, hey, that's something. That's good. You should write him about that. He's going to care, right?" Maybe that was my naivety as a child, but I feel like that was also the time. A lawyer seemed respectable in most instances, right? Oh, you're a lawyer. That's wonderful. Doctor, that's wonderful, right? A dentist, hey, good job on that. And there was a lot of public trust in those institutions that taught, in those individuals who kind of upheld that sector of the community. And those careers are so barricaded that not everybody can join. And that barrier of entry is really high. And so when you get into that spot, I feel like you really are carrying kind of a moral responsibility to your community. In times past, better than now, I can say I felt like those were more respected fields because of how they treated the community and those around them. I think across all of them, that the reputation and the behavior of people in those, I would say, sacred callings has been eroded or corroded through a lot of pressures, outside pressures, right? I don't think it's all just because maybe they're not going to church anymore or something that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, now I'll go, that was kind of broad. So let's go a little bit more narrow. We take states that have suffered a large push from insurance, right? It used to be a doctor-patient relationship was between doctor and patient, and the doctor had to uphold certain standards, right? They were governed by a board, but certain standards also of like, I know what's best for you. You're coming to me because you don't know what's best for you or you're unable to accomplish it. And so you put this great trust in me to do this. And that relationship was transactional, right? You would therefore support me monetarily and I would do the best for you. And that was a good and happy thing.
Yep.
And when it doesn't go right, we would be responsible to each other, right? Um, if if I did some work that wasn't good on you, you would come back to me and there would be this feeling of like, dang, you really trusted me. You gave me the money. I'm going to try and do this for you. I like that relationship. I think that that's a healthy relationship. I think that relationship thrives better in communities that are more isolated. Tri-Cities could be one. And I think it's corroded more easily where there's the anonymity of a large city, right? So in certain states, I'm going to take California. I went to Loma Linda, so I lived there for 2.5 years. My wife's from there, so I feel like I have a bearing on that. And I have friends there who practice currently. I know a lot of doctors from there. Insurance has put such a wedge in there that it drives down, it drives away that patient doctor interaction because they can dictate treatment modalities for people regardless of really health. They're doing statistical analysis to determine that. They also get rid of the strict financial obligation one to another, right? Whenever there's that intermediary, there's no longer they're severing the connection between patient and doctor. When I was in Cleveland, Ohio, in dental school, we probably had about 80% of our patients were Medicaid, right? So entirely state paid. They would usually come in like a government or a city bus or something. I mean, they weren't paying anything to be there, right? I had a 50% no-show rate, right?
Oh, wow.
They had no respect for what they were getting, right? And in turn, I think that pushes the doctor to not respect the patient either, right? Because you're tearing that away. That thread's being broken, right?
Okay.
And I think that happens more and more through the years as insurance wedges in or as doctors become under pressure to try and make ends meet. I don't have here, I'm going to quote Instagram as for what that's worth. Okay. But
It's gotta be true.
A gal got on Instagram this last week and she said that a dental school education from USC, so Southern California, was $750,000. And she said, I'm not sure this is going to be worth it for anybody anymore. Is that true? Is that not true? I don't know, but I bet it's pretty close, right? When I was at Loma Linda over a decade ago, I think USC's tuition was well over 100,000, right? So these kids get out and they're really going to have to scrap to make ends meet. Insurance drives down price pretty darn low, so your margin's just barely going on. Then there becomes this temptation then to stop thinking of people as people, get as many through so you can get economies of scale, right? The customer service goes out the window. I mean, you can't help but recognize that those pressures are going to occur. And with those pressures occurring, And because the dental school is making so much money from things, from students, they're putting out a large amount of dentists. So everybody's scrapping for everything all the time. The more scrappy behavior there is, and the more of a barricade between true patient-doctor interaction, the more opportunity for like a lapse in ethics.
Yeah.
I'm certain this is occurring because where's perplexity AI when I need it, right? But if I asked, how does public trust rate today versus a decade ago versus 2 decades ago, I guarantee it's going down. Right. In all these professions, Congress, yeah, for sure. Lawyers, of course, right? Doctors and dentists too.
Yeah.
And so, but dentistry is, near and dear to my heart. It's given me my life.
Mhm.
I enjoy it. But I don't know, I don't know where it's going to go. I don't want to watch it turn into that. That's probably what I was meaning when I answered that.
Yeah, no, you did a really good job there, just kind of explaining it in basic terms, because I have observed the changes in the industry. I'm not a dentist, but my dad's a dentist. He
Oh.
practiced for many, many years.
Yeah.
My brother's a current practicing dentist,
Mhm.
and oftentimes I think back, well, shoot, I was my dad's first patient when he was in dental school, right?
Yeah.
And so I think back when my dad started his practice, how
Yeah.
things were in a small town,
Yeah.
and it was very much relationships based,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And there was that strong element of trust, and
Yeah.
and my dad was really good at connecting with people
Mhm.
and building that trust and taking care of them, and which is great. And I look at that and how it was when he was practicing versus my brother today,
Yeah.
where he's at with his practice. It's very, very different.
Yeah.
And it's not that my brother cares a lot, but there's so many other variables that are dictating what he can and can't do,
Yeah.
or what's requiring of his attention, that of things that my dad never even had to worry about.
Yeah.
He was just focused on taking care of the patient,
Right.
right? And now there's just so many other components to it that just makes it complex and 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 frustrating, quite honestly, for
Yeah.
him. And I so that's a really
And it's changed rapidly. I mean, I worked with your dad. Your dad used to refer to me when I first got here.
yeah.
And now he's been retired almost 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Probably
Wow.
something
Oh
close
wow,
to
yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Things have changed a ton in that time. I I see it accelerating so fast that it makes me think more generationally because, I have 3 kids. Now, only one of the 3 has talked any interest in dentistry, but I think about it and I go, hey, I would love to encourage you and I'm going to help you all the way to do whatever you want to do. And if that's dentistry, that's fine. But I'm not sure you're going to play on the same field as I'm playing on. And I can't imagine the grass is greener on yours. Right. And that's pretty scary.
It is.
But there's so much bargaining power with population with insurance. I keep going back to insurance, but like I'll give you an example, right? So I won't name the insurance certainly, but we do mostly PPO, so we're contracted with insurances. We had a contract with one where we had both agreed maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. I think it's 4 years ago, and for a certain fee. In those 4 years, they've not given us a fee increase at all, right? And it's a dramatic decrease. It's one of my lower insurances, but it's serving a population that needs it, which is important. And it still made sense back then. Now, every year, inflation brings my wages higher. Every year, my rent goes higher. Every year, my gloves go higher. Every year, everything goes higher. My insurances go higher. There's not been a year where it's come back down. But there's been no addition to that insurance fee. Now, this is pretty common. If there's any dentist listening to me, they're just rolling their eyes saying, duh, that's what they all do to us. Then this year, they dropped us by like almost 15% with a new contract, said, hey, we're only going to do this now. You can't, like, moving backwards. I mean, that's an incredible pressure, right? So now I would be faced with saying, hey, look, okay, all those people who needed help, and it's not an insurance, it's going to be covered a lot. All those people that need to be helped are just simply not going to get help. Well, that's not really good either, right? Or I've got to do it now, realizing that maybe I make no money. Or if the patient need to come back twice, maybe I lose a lot of money, right? Or something like that. Again, that is a pressure that's going to push on me as a practitioner, as them as a patient, and just on the community in a negative way. There's no positive benefit there. when that happens on an aggregate, many times in the industry, you're going to start to see things that come up that you don't like. I think it drags everybody down.
And unfortunately, this challenge is so big.
Uh,
It's hard to even it's hard to even talk about or figure out. I mean, where's the solve? Where's the fix? And
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, then it's near impossible to not get into the politics and everything
Yeah, it
else
turns
around it. I
entirely
mean,
political.
it's
Yeah.
and it's huge, and then it just becomes just a disaster show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's
And
tough.
in the end, guess who's suffering? It's the patients,
Yeah.
it's the doctors, and
Yeah.
people may not
Who comes out better? Who comes out? Who's improved by this situation?
the government agencies. No, I don't. I mean,
Kinda,
that's the
really.
ones
I mean, really,
are
just
the beast that's being fed,
yeah, really.
or
The insurance company,
companies,
the insurance company, and
right?
the employees of the insurance company.
Yeah.
They're probably the only ones that are better this year than last year. This
Yeah.
is the only way.
I
And I
just
understand their margins are slim too, but they work on such large volume that works well in their favor. But it feels like a lose-lose-lose
it really does.
everywhere around.
It really does. It really does, and that's disheartening, right? And
I think so.
especially for those that they're like, hey, yeah, I want to be because I like you say 20 years ago or so, or
Yeah.
more, the image,
Yeah.
what a doctor or other
Yeah.
profession was, now
Yeah.
things have totally shifted.
Yeah.
I would like to hope that, we can maintain or at least maintain the integrity of those roles and of those professions.
Yeah.
And it might require some shift, some
Yeah.
change, and some hard conversations, but it's just kind of unwieldy, right? The power,
Being
there's so many big.
being in a small town helps a lot, and I still consider Tri-Cities a small town because you're responsible for somebody you might see at Walmart or see at church,
Yeah.
or that's likely not going to entirely move away or disappear into the mob, right? And so the more I think personal relationship you have with the person, the more you're called to task at doing the best you always can for that guy because you're going to see him again, right? And so I think we have an advantage here that way, but the whole world's not that way. It's
No.
certainly not the United States,
What is one of the biggest lessons you've learned in running a practice or being a business owner? And I could throw another component into that too, as you think about it, because one of the things that you had mentioned prior as well was not bringing the stresses home, right?
Yeah, that's hard.
Geez,
Yeah.
even this week for me, and we kind of talked about some of the ways that
Yeah.
you can disconnect a little bit, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on balancing that? And hey,
That's hard.
there's no,
I don't think I have anything figured out. I've had my kids call me on the carpet and say, "Dad, I didn't do anything to you today. I wasn't at your work. So it's not fair for you to be upset when you come home at me." And they're right. It's tough. I do much better now than before. You know, dentistry is a matter of endurance a little bit, and you become conditioned like every profession. I mean, there's so much hyper focus and so on. I remember early after being in a microscope for 8 hours, I would come home and literally I felt like my eyes were swollen. Like I would just have to just sit and let things calm down before I could even interact with people. It really hurt, like it physically hurt, right? Now I can work, 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 and then I come home and I'm like, hey, what do you guys want to do? And so I feel better. And so a lot of that was just physical conditioning. Um, but the emotional stuff's tough. And as far as like you asked me a minute ago, like what have I learned? The biggest thing I've learned, I'm going to say like the biggest surprise about the profession of owning an endodontic practice and being the endodontist is how much energy employees take for good and for bad. Oftentimes I feel that my biggest joy is working with my team, not thinking about patients, not thinking about, drawing my little white lines on x-rays that I do. But like, hey, how's this team member developing? Or, hey, that was a breakthrough. Or, hey, this is a fun strategy. We've got some real energy going and we got some good things going in our practice. We should talk about that. But that's also the biggest challenge, right? Meetings on meetings on meetings about how to deal with employees when it has nothing to do with how to treat that tooth, right? that's a huge energy suck. But it can also be an energy boost when you're successful. That's been part of the career that I had no idea was coming. I thought I like business. I'm an agribusiness major and business administration. I dual majored at Utah State, nothing to do with biology or anything. And then I jumped into dentistry. So I like the business part. Give me an Excel spreadsheet. I'll just have fun like setting it up. Um, so I thought dentistry was going to be, hey, some medicine. My people portion is just my patient, and I'm gonna do some accounting, and I'm gonna be home at 5 to play t-ball with my kid. No, no, no t-ball. And those things are neat and good, but really, there's this huge sphere that I didn't see in that Venn diagram of overlap and stuff, where it's just the employees, managing them, growing them. Sometimes they're all good, but they're infantile in their experience, right? They're me when I was 21. What did I know back then?
Right.
And so I've got to grow them into who they can be while making the business successful. And I think it happens at the same time. The more I grow them, the more successful I am. So we've implemented some really fun stuff. We have a leadership club where we grab people from the group who we feel like have shown leadership ability or who we want to, and we meet together monthly. We read a book together, and we discuss the book, and then we translate that into how does it affect us and how can we grow.
Mhm.
And it's been really pretty fun and rewarding.
No kidding.
Yeah,
And you've had people been interested or
Yeah, we've been
was
doing it well more than a year. Yeah, they get really engaged. Some of them later will say, "Hey, this is changing me personally." It's really great. It's really fun. I think it helps them invest in the company because they're not going to punch a clock and do a task. They're there to develop themselves. They see it come through in the relationships, in their parenting, in their relationships with coworkers or their bosses. How they like they're great skills.
See, that is really neat.
But it's expensive, right? You think about that. If I grab 12 girls
Oh,
who are all getting paid like 30, 35 an hour,
Yep.
and I spend an hour and a half,
That adds up
that's a
pretty
lot.
darn.
Yeah,
That adds
you're
up
like, hey,
pretty darn
and I
quick.
buy them all coffee at the same time. You're like, hey, here's $600 or $700 to read the book. It's really expensive.
those
That's
are
like a
expensive.
marketing budget, right?
Yeah.
But you got to invest back into them. And then you get this family feeling where you're like, just like when you're running your family and everybody's cohesive and working well, and you're like, hey, this means something to me, right? Has nothing. We haven't. Patient hasn't even walked through the door yet,
Hmm.
right?
So now I'm interested in what books.
The Dichotomy of Leadership
Oh, okay.
by Jocko Willink. I can't remember. Anyway, it's kind of a military style book, but
Yeah.
there's been others. We've done emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
We do a staff meeting too that includes everybody, where we also assign a book. I've been running that one for the last 3 or 4 months, where I break up. So it's The Psychology of Money by Housel. Fantastic book. Strongly recommend it. But healthy employees have healthy financial statements. Healthy employees are not worried about that. They're getting paid, but they're not showing up to work just for the pay, right? They're showing up for something more. And you can't give them. I've often said to Kathy, our practice manager, I said, look, people stay with us and become like this becomes their career, not because I pay them, but because of what it's doing to them and what they're contributing. They feel fulfilled. Pay, you just can't give them a reason to leave, right? If they're feeling all those things, but they're not making financial goals, they can't stay,
Hmm.
even though they'd want to.
Yeah.
And they move away. So what you got to do is you got to make all this the way it should be, and then make sure they have no reason to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Keep them the highest paid. And we've kind of maintained that, and we've got this central core that works pretty good for us. I mean, many of those employees, but we do that by like assigning books and doing
See, I
things
didn't-
outside
I've
the
seen
norm.
I've seen some of those books sitting around your office, and
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
was kind of like, oh, that's kind of neat, but I didn't
Yeah.
realize you had a full program going
Yeah.
on there.
We
That's
just buy them a book and hand it
that
over, or
is-
give them an Audible,
that's awesome.
purchase, and then we require them to read it. I mean, we tell them to. They don't always. Like I don't always read all the chapters. Depends how busy you are. Got a lot of books in the air right now, but that's paid great dividends, and I would attribute most of that credit to Kathy Smart. She's the one who thought that up, and so pretty solid. Though.
Way to cool. What
Yeah.
a neat thing to do.
Yeah, it's been
I love that. So, what other cool things are you guys doing? Is there anything else that
it's useful like
yeah,
that.
or other?
We try and do a lot of we would do like team retreats and stuff. Those are good things. One problem that can occur in a dental office, and I think any office, is you're in the trenches, you're in the battle, and you'll start to look at the guy next to you as that role only. right? They're pushy or micromanaging here, or they always save me here. But they just, you cast that role of it's the girl next door doing her job. When we break out of those things and do team events, right? We do like a team dinner or do an amazing Christmas party. We once rode the Hiawatha Trail
Oh, no
with the
kidding.
whole staff.
What?
Some of our staff members couldn't ride a bike. Yeah, that's but hang on. This is an awesome story. Couldn't ride a bike, was highly concerned about it. Now that hadn't occurred to me when I was planning this, right, with the guys. But so she learned to ride a bike so she could participate with the team. Now she loves it and she goes like on weekly bike rides.
No kidding.
What an awesome growth experience, man. Like that's so awesome. That's so fun. But when we do something different like that, it kind of tears down who you are.
Yeah.
You're wearing your civvy clothes. You're
Uh-huh.
you're doing something maybe that's uncomfortable. We did a ropes course over at
I want to come work for you
Washington
now.
State University.
I mean,
Come on.
this sounds good. Let's sign me up.
We've done zip lining in like Suncadia area. Like all those things will kind of tear you down, let you see somebody new,
Uh-huh.
and then you treat them differently, right? And same with us doctors, right? They sometimes we bring our wives, they look at us, they laugh, they're like, "Oh, Hawkins is ridiculous," and then on Monday, even though I'm in the trenches and I'm like, "Hey, I need this, we're doing this," they're like, "Yeah, I know this guy. He's right now he's doing his best here, but I know who he is there, or I see him with his family here," and that pays dividends.
That's a really neat.
Yeah.
I think
And
that's
vice versa. I like these girls.
yeah.
In fact, I tease them sometimes because they'll let me know what they're doing. They're like out having fun, and I'll have serious FOMO because they're out having fun without me. And I'm like, "What are you guys doing tonight?" Or whatever. It's like somebody's birthday party or whatever. I'm like, "Oh, that sounds good."
So they're
Wish I was there.
they're all getting together and
Yeah,
they're
they
leaving
get
you
together.
out.
But the reason is because I like them.
Yeah.
I laugh with them. So
Oh, I think that's pretty amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
think that's a really
it's
great.
fun. I work in a cool place.
Yeah,
I'm very happy with the place I work.
that's awesome. So one of the things I always ask everybody the direction of technology and AI in their industry, and how do you
Okay.
see that? How is that impacting you today, or if it is, it isn't? How do you see that
Yeah.
impacting things in the future, or pivoting things, or is it just kind of just a lot of chitter chatter hype right now?
Yeah. I don't think it's chitter chatter hype. I think AI is going to embed itself in all aspects of our life. I feel like it's there in many ways already. Um, some some aspects of dentistry I think can be affected more by it than others. Endodontics can be helped by AI, I see, but I don't think it can be replaced. The things that we do to get down a canal efficiently and correctly, it's so nuanced. It's a thing of like feel combined with intuition to go down a canal. That sounds silly, right? But it's actually kind of true, right? And the more I've understood, the better endodontist I've been. So when I first started, I would be really mechanical. I follow all the rules. I was trained at a great place. Loma Linda is a fantastic program. And so I would follow all my little rules. Um, and I would produce a quality root canal, but I couldn't do it nearly as easy on the patient or as consistently successful. Whereas as I started to develop, start to kind of try and have faith in myself and believe what I thought was there. So this sounds silly, but sometimes I won't look at what I'm doing to feel what I'm doing. And I became better by doing that. And so like when I go down a canal a lot of times now, I won't look inside the chamber. I'll imagine where I feel like the canal should be, then I'll go there. Now that's super helpful in a case I can't see, right? Because I get a lot of cases. It's like I did one the other day. You can't see the tooth, man. You just can't. So you kind of get an idea where the tooth is, and you're like, it'll be right there, and then it is. And I don't know how AI is going to beat me on that.
That's no.
But we've been considering AI to take chart notes. Apparently, there's a program out there. You know about this. We probably talked with you about it, but a program out there where it will listen and it's smart enough to decipher when I'm talking to build just a relationship of trust, like, "Hey, it's a beautiful day. I see you got a suntan. Did you go to Florida?" or whatever. That's not going to be recorded. But then when I switch and say, "Let's talk about this radiograph. I can see there's a radiolucency apical to number 18. This, in layman's terms, would be an abscess. I think you've got an infection. Let's talk about it." It would grab all of that. So it knows how to decipher all that. Now, one of the great impediments to early assistants in their training is they can take the x-ray, They can set up the chair, they're ready to go. But then when they start to try and interpret and record what I'm telling the patient as far as diagnosis and prognosis, they're lost.
Yeah.
I use a whole bunch of dental terminology. They can't write it down fast enough. They're not interpreting kind of what I'm saying, or they're missing a key point. Like I may, in that whole discussion, I may have said, due to there being a silver filling here, I really suspect a fracture. If this fracture goes deep, we may lose the tooth. They may not write that down. Now that's super important because later when I'm in there working and I use a microscope to check for that fracture, it's there, you know, I needed them to already say, yeah, doctor, you talked about that, right? That need to be recorded. This AI technology will grab all of it because it knows keywords. It knows how to listen. It may record. I don't know how it does it. I imagine it probably kind of listens to all of it and then eliminates what's unnecessary. But who can do that? My best assistants after 15, 20 years of training do that. No, I can have all 8 operatories do it. And my assistant could be doing something else, right? She'll probably be in the room, but she might be setting up the x-ray or setting up the tools.
So from a practice standpoint, still early stages, not really leveraging, not really using it.
And sometimes in error. I get a lot of referrers that will send me images where their AI software has tried to identify important information in a radiograph, right? Where's decay? Where are bone levels? Where's there an abscess? And they're wrong.
Oh, really?
And
See, it's intriguing.
I've gone to some of them and I've said, I know you have the software, but when you send me a radiograph for me to get a pre-interpretation, I always do my own, right? You have to.
Right.
But I'd like a pre-interpretation. It's all marked up with your AI junk, and I can't see what's truly there, and it's wrong a lot of the time.
Oh, no kidding.
Now that's a problem because you think about that. If you throw this AI on, let's say the doctor's interpreting it and he's bought into the software, and he gets it and he says, run the software, and AI says, well, here's a lesion, here's your bone levels. Now it's got all the marker stuff. Now he can't see what's truly there. He should use his own knowledge and experience to interpret what's there. And I know that's a possibility for error, and we're trying to get rid of that by standardizing through AI. But AI has obliterated the truth now and demanded that you see what they see. Now they're wrong. They're wrong a lot. That's dangerous.
See that?
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So I think it can be a detriment, and maybe it will become more refined. But right now we're playing with people, and I don't want to play around with health.
Well, that's people's well-being and health, and that's really intriguing because that's one of the things I know that I've seen in a lot of other practices.
Yeah, you see
the general family dentists, right? Where they're talking about it. Some of them are trying it out. Some of them are using it. But it's really interesting seeing that from your perspective, where you're getting that stuff from them.
But it's a double-edged sword, right? So maybe as many times as maybe I think it hurts, maybe it's helping. Maybe they weren't going to see it in the first place, and I don't know. But I don't like it because I trust myself, and I've seen a lot of radiographs.
Okay.
And I verify it with my own stuff, and so I see when it's erroneous too.
Well, I think there's two things.
It's a double-edged sword.
In the AI world, there's two things. There's the hallucinations, which are either just make stuff up, or it's just wrong, right? Or it could just be wrong, like you touched on. But you're always supposed to verify it. Human, the human element AI doesn't or shouldn't eliminate the human element.
And maybe it's possible for them to strip that off and review it. But I would encourage them to do it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no,
I'm trust but verify.
I'm really glad you shared that because that's kind of that's the kind of insight that I'm really intrigued about, and that I'm looking for is like, how's it helping? How's it hurting? And where are we at right now? And how's it going to evolve? And so
in medicine, you want to adopt technology early because it's going to improve things. But you have to do it with such caution.
Yeah.
Because you know more about AI than I do.
Yeah, there's AIs all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the Wild West. There's a lot of people are excited about it. There's a lot of hype. But what I see is most people I don't even know how to use it. I don't even know where it's applicable to me. I don't even know how. I mean, besides the personal stuff or the chat GPT, I have a question, help me, what do I need to do with this, right? Or write this email or write this, but the truly business impacting, game-changing stuff is just not even scratching the surface yet, right? And it's just because the general population we just don't know, right? For me, though, I'm starting to dig deeper. I've dug deeper into and just trying to automate things. Like, what is it that I'm doing on a regular basis, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, that I can just set aside and assign AI to do it? right? And
That boosts productivity tremendously,
which,
right?
well, yes, and that's where I get excited. But I also see a lot of, I don't know that I want to say time wasted, but time invested
Mhm.
in trying to figure out what will work. And then
Yeah.
in a business like mine or in other businesses or clients, I've seen everybody get hyped up on AI, and then you have 5 people trying to do the same thing
Yeah.
or duplicating efforts with their now access to AI.
Yeah.
And so then there becomes a real inefficiency. And at the end of the day, what do you really end up with? And does it really help the business? Or are we just spending a lot of time on the latest and
Yep.
greatest toy?
Yeah, and it can be a lot of time. I've tried figuring things out and wasted hours and hours and hours, and you could just
Uh,
go do it.
but
Yeah.
but I mean, even just as recent as this week though, that I figured some stuff out, that I'm doing stuff with it
Yeah.
that I'm absolutely just like, this is game changer. This is
Really?
awesome. Yeah, like and what I'm finding though is a lot of times it's not, it's things that I just would have never done before
Uh-huh.
because I don't have the time to invest in doing it.
Yeah.
Things that I've wanted to do, things that have been on my, this would really help, but I don't have the hours and hours to make it happen. So now leveraging AI, I've been able to build that out, and now it's actually a reality.
Yeah.
So to me, that's where it's helped out significantly. Just stuff that and that should be nice to do, but I'm never going to get to it because I don't have the time.
Yeah.
I do.
I mean, for sure, AI is going to lift all boats.
Yeah.
Productivity is going to increase. GDP is going to increase. It just has to. World GDP. Yeah.
So
Cool.
all right. Well, Jeremiah, thank you so much for
This is
coming
fun.
today. I'm
We should do a
really
part
glad-
2.
I'd love to do a part 2. Let's do it after we go flying.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. The bakery calls.
Yeah, we'll do it at the bakery.
Yeah.
No, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today, for
Yeah.
taking your time going over this. And like I said, just real casual and just not super.
It's been fun.
It's not like a real mature production, right? But I appreciate you taking the time. I do have one thing that I want to give you though.
Oh,
So hold tight. Just kind of a fun little thing that have you heard of the Stop Box?
no.
They're not a sponsor.
Yep. But they can be.
They could be. So Stop Box
Stop.
is just a I'll take it out of the box for you. Here, get out of the way. It's a gun safe.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We're talking going analog. It's a non-electronic gun safe.
Good.
And what you do is you
Why do you assume I have guns?
well, you said hunting, so I figured. So it's just a quick release, and you can set up a different combination, but it's just a quick. Well, actually, I was thinking for your airplane.
I need a gun.
You need a gun in your
I think so.
airplane.
I think so.
I don't know. It's got
No, this will be good.
it's got a flag on it, and just so I wanted to give that to you and just
Yeah.
say kind of as a thank you
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
for doing this and taking your time today.
Keeping us safe.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.